Hello, hello, and welcome everyone. Oh my goodness, it's nice to see so many students here today. My name is Tom Rock. I am the Vice Provost for Student Affairs at Teachers College, and I am so delighted to see you here today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are logging on from around the world. We are delighted to see you here today. I am looking forward to welcoming you back to campus this fall. One of the things I miss the most about this past year is really just seeing you on campus, interacting with our students all across campus on a regular basis. We all see our students in the hallways, in the cafe, in the library, in the neighborhood. So it's just something obviously that I just can't wait to get back to. And it just hasn't been the same. And I can't wait to get back to that everyday TC life, the way that we knew it before this global pandemic. We do know that we will be welcoming new students to Teachers College for the first time. So congratulations to you on your admission. We can't wait to get to know you. We also recognize that we are welcoming back our continuing students whose studies were so abruptly interrupted in March of 2020. Can't wait to reconnect with that group and bring you back to campus. And we can't forget that we are welcoming back continuing students who began their studies this past academic year who have never set foot on campus. So these have been such challenging times for all of us. I truly hope that you and your family and your loved ones have remained healthy and that you are taking all of the necessary precautions to ensure your safe return to Teachers College in just a few short weeks. All of us in the Division of Student Affairs and in other student service offices have been really hard at work thinking about this, your safety, your return to campus, and putting together programming as we prepare to welcome back, to orient, and in some cases reorient you or refamiliarize our students to campus life. We know that this is one of the reasons that you chose Teachers College. You chose TC because you wanted to be here. You wanted to be in New York City. You wanted to be on our campus. I'm actually on campus today, right here on 120th Street. We are committed to making sure that you have a positive and successful student experience. Most importantly, though, one that is safe. So our return to campus policies and procedures, they have been developed. We've been working really hard at this. They will continue to be rolled out this summer. And, as you are aware, TC has mandated the COVID-19 vaccination. More information on this in a bit. Also, we have information for you about our in-person events and an event policy that has been updated. Again, more information coming. And we also have information on what TC will do for masking. Again, more information coming up in today's town hall session. So we do expect that there will be some additional policies and procedures that continue to evolve. We're in close contact with city officials, local and state officials, as well as our Columbia University colleagues, and we will have additional town hall meetings to address this changing and evolving situation. Members of our different offices and our staff are here today to walk through the existing policies as they are now and to answer your questions. So first, I would like to introduce you to one of your fellow peers, Cam Arnzen. Cam is our Student Senate Vice President here at Teachers College. I can't wait for you to get to know him. Cam is a doctoral student at TC in the Department of Education Policy and Social Analysis. He joined us as a student this past year. So Cam has not been on campus. I just met Cam for the first time last week when he was taking a tour of the college, even though he's been a student here for this past academic year. So I really, again, I think you're going to enjoy getting to know Cam. So I'd like to now turn it over to him for some remarks from his perspective as a fellow student and as our Student Senate Vice President. So Cam.
Thanks for the introduction. And after a whole year and a half of only interacting through Teachers College virtually, it was surreal to meet you last week in person, Dr. Rock. As you said, my name is Cameron Arnzen. I am a doctoral student in the Politics and Education program and the vice president of the TC Student Senate. I'm also one of those students who, as you mentioned, started my studies last year, and up until last week, I had never even stepped foot on campus. I have many hopes about the return to campus this year. I hope that I get to meet each of you in person and forge great lasting relationships. I hope that I can permanently remove the words Zoom, pivot, and silver lining from my daily vocabulary. And finally, I hope that the return to campus is not only safe, but also inspiring. No matter what we study here at TC, we're all connected to really the largest public good in the world, education. And one thing that is common in most all of our contexts is that education is about community. No matter our previous experiences, our current roles, or our future careers, we rely on those around us to do what we do best, educate. The return to campus this fall will be no different. It's going to take the whole community working together to return stronger than before. In many ways, campus leadership has been planning for the return to campus since we left. They've been deliberating and discussing how to bring us back and how to do so safely. The most important thing we can do as students is to be actively engaged. We have to check and read our emails. We have to take advantage of the opportunities, like this town hall, to both hear what campus leadership has been working on, as well as to ask questions to ensure that we are all as prepared for the return to campus as possible. We have to continue to be a part of the conversation. TC Student Senate is preparing to do just that, to be a part of the conversation. In many ways, this past virtual year gave us the opportunity to reassess how to listen to people and how to use our voices. If you're interested in working with Senate and or running for a senator position, watch your email for an email from me when nominations open soon. I'm so looking forward to safely meeting all of you this fall. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Vice Provost for Student Affairs, Dr. Tom Rock.
Thank you so much, Cam. I really appreciate your welcoming remarks, and I too can't wait to get rid of some of that Zoom vocabulary. One that I was going to add was can't wait to hopefully stop saying you're on mute in meetings as well. I do want to now go over some information about our fall modalities, fall modalities update. And then we'll get into the rest of our program here today. So for fall modalities, we do expect that our students, will have a positive student experience on campus this fall. We certainly recognize that it might still be a little bit different, perhaps even a little bit bumpy at times, but we will get through it together. So as we get into the semester, our goal is to return to a more normal, and I put in quotes, normal campus life. We will have to begin cautiously. We're keeping up to date with the shifting guidelines, and we will continue to respond to the changing environment as we need to. We will have a number of students who will be remote in in-person classes. We sent out a survey, students responded. We are expecting, between 300 and maybe 400 TC students have been approved for remote learning this fall. Those are students who have a travel or a visa restriction, or students who have a health or a medical condition. Those have been the only reasons, primarily, that we have approved for remote learning. Other than that, we expect our students to return to campus and to be in person. But I did want to make sure that that some of your in-person classes will have some students on Zoom studying remotely. Think of, and some international students perhaps that haven't had access to the vaccine or who have a travel or a visa restriction. Those students, some of them might be enrolled in your in-person class, but on Zoom. I want to also explain, though, that for your in-person classes, we're not expecting any social distancing. So classes, if they are scheduled for 25 students, or they're scheduled for 30 students, or they're scheduled for 50 students. That's what you can expect in the classroom. And we'll do this as safely as we possibly can. Our dining services will be open. My colleague Dwayne will have a little bit more information on dining services in a moment. There will likely be some changes and some grab and go options. But you can expect a campus experience. It might be a little bit different. For health and safety updates, we've received several questions about health and safety, so I did want to address some of them for you. And I do thank you for submitting questions ahead of time. Our staff members are going to be incorporating many of the answers to your questions in the remarks today. And also feel free to add some questions in the chat box, and we will answer as many of them as we possibly can at the end of the program. So, and I really encourage you, your go-to website for all of the latest information, especially about health and safety protocols, is right on the Teachers College off the homepage. It's the Teachers College Preparedness site. I can't stress this enough, but to go to that site for additional information, it's updated regularly, if not daily. And again, as your main resource for finding out information or what's happening in the moment. Our student affairs offices will be open beginning August 9th. That is our return to campus date. Our offices will be staffed 5 days a week. We might not have every single staff member in the office 5 days a week, but we will have staff to assist you while you're on campus. Our offices are located on the first floor of one of the TC main buildings. It's right by the accessibility driveway on 120th Street. There's an entrance right there. All of our student affairs offices are there, and many of the other student service offices are also on Thorndike, in Thorndike Hall. And we are working, again, as I mentioned, really hard to keep the community safe. We have done a lot of work on the college's, facilities and ventilation system as well, to make sure that everything is clean, and the changing of filters and really just the air circulation process has been updated. We will have, certainly the college has also updated our masking policy, and we are requiring masks while anyone is indoors. Indoors at Teachers College, the masks will be required. If this changes, obviously we will let everybody know, but masks will be required indoors. In our outdoor spaces, masks are not going to be required. Currently, there is a testing process in place as well. And we'll have more information on the testing process in a little bit, but currently we do require a PCR diagnostic negative test to access campus for the summer. We have not made determination yet for the fall. So again, stay connected to the college preparedness website. But if anyone is looking to access campus this summer before September 1, a PCR test that was dated on or after May 1st is required to enter campus for the rest of the summer. So it's a gateway test that's required. And again, we'll have information about whether testing is required for the fall very, very soon. We've also received some questions about safety in the area, certainly recognizing, some of the increased hate crimes, some violence that's happening really in not just in New York City, but certainly in other places. And I did want to mention that Teachers College is located in the 26th precinct, which is actually one of the safest precincts, reporting the lowest crime statistics in the city. However, we all need to be vigilant. We all need to be aware. We're still in a major metropolitan area. And so we have several measures in place from our public safety staff at Teachers College. Also, the Columbia and the Barnard public safety are on foot patrolling the area. Some of them are also in vehicles. There's also availability of Columbia shuttle buses. And these shuttle services have been expanded to be able to pick up students even in the outer borough, really pick up anybody coming to the Columbia campus. So there was location this summer in Brooklyn, there was location in Queens. So please visit the publicsafety.columbia.edu transportation site, because you can see some updated information about that. Also, many of our students will walk to the subways together after classes. That is a common, what happens after the classes, and then taking the subways together to get to other parts of the metropolitan area after class. So definitely encourage students to do that. There's also an escort service. So if anyone is just not comfortable walking in the area or wanting to, be escorted through our public safety staff, that is also a service that's available. So I just wanted to highlight a few. So without further ado, I do want to introduce my colleague, Karen Ross, from our Office of Student Health and Wellness, because Karen has some really important information to share with you about the college's vaccination mandate. So let me turn it right now over to Karen Ross.
Good day, everyone. As Tom stated, I'm Karen V. Ross. I am the Associate Director of the Office of Student Health and Wellness here at Teachers College. I'm so glad that you've been able to join us today, and I look forward to seeing you in person soon. I'd just like to share some information and a couple of updates with you regarding Teachers College's vaccination mandate as it pertains to you, our students. So research continues to support the safety and efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccines authorized for use by the Federal Drug Administration and the World Health Organization, as well as their real-world effectiveness against COVID-19. Additionally, the university anticipates that one or more of the vaccines currently authorized for emergency use in the U.S. will receive full FDA approval by the time the mandate takes effect. High vaccine coverage is critical to preserving the health of TC and the surrounding community. So the vaccine upload process. Well, the Office of Student Health and Wellness will be processing vaccination records. Students who intend to access campus for any reason must be fully vaccinated and submit proof of their COVID-19 vaccination at least 10 working days prior to entering campus to ensure adequate time for processing. You may upload your vaccination record by visiting the TC Preparedness website or the Insurance and Immunization Records website. Once there, follow the link for COVID-19 vaccination submission, complete the Google form, and upload your proof of vaccination for review. Please be sure to record accurate dates of vaccination. Additionally, your image has to be less than 10 megabytes in size. Vaccines must have been administered on or after December 1st, 2020. Our submission deadlines. Please note that you have until August 1st, 2021 to submit proof of vaccination. However, please submit your proof of vaccination as soon as possible to avoid any disruptions with your access to campus. Beginning on August 16th, 2021, any individual who has not submitted their vaccination documentation or who has not received an approved medical or religious exemption will have a red pass on a daily health screening and will be unable to access campus. For our international students that will not be vaccinated within this time frame, or your vaccine hasn't been approved by the World Health Organization, you will be able to obtain the vaccination either Columbia Health, or you can use New York City Vaccination Finder. You must begin the vaccination process within 72 hours of entry into the United States. However, if you received a vaccination within your home country that isn't approved by the World Health Organization, or you must wait at least 28 days before beginning the vaccination process. While waiting to become fully vaccinated, you will have access to your residence if you're a residential student and will be able to access your courses remotely. Additionally, you will have to undergo weekly COVID-19 testing. COVID-19 PCR test results are to be submitted to COVID student care at tc.columbia.edu. Exemptions. In accordance with New York State public health laws, the college will allow for medical and religious exemptions from TC's COVID-19 vaccine mandate. Students who cannot be vaccinated for COVID-19 because of a medical reason or sincerely held religious belief, practice, or observance may request an exemption through the Office of Student Health and Wellness. Students who wish to apply for a medical or religious exemption from the COVID-19 vaccination must complete and submit the appropriate exemption request form at least 15 days prior to the day of planned campus access to allow for processing. If you're approved for an exemption, you will have to submit weekly PCR COVID-19 tests through the aforementioned COVID student care at tc.columbia.edu email. Requesting a medical exemption does not equate to registration as an individual with a disability. If you require disability-related accommodations outside of this exemption, you must go through the OASID registration process. Please contact OASID at tc.edu for more information. As Dr. Rock stated, we get a lot of questions about whether or not COVID-19 PCR tests are still required to come on campus. As previously stated, yes, that is still a requirement, especially for the summer. So the PCR test would have to been administered after May 1st, 2021 in order to access campus throughout the summer. But please continue to check the TC Preparedness website and your TC email for any updates regarding this requirement for the fall 2021 semester. So to obtain the vaccine, Columbia University is currently operating 6 locations that provide vaccinations to Columbia affiliates, 5 of which can offer vaccines to their family members as well as to other patients. Morningside campus appointments at Lerner Hall can be made through Columbia Health. Booking an appointment can be done via the scheduling section of the Columbia Health patient portal. All appointments are subject to vaccine availability, and walk-in appointments may also be available. So if there are any other questions regarding the vaccination mandate or COVID-19 test, please contact us at covidstudentcare@tc.columbia.edu. And with that, I'll hand it over to my colleague, Denise Bonetta.
Great. Thanks, Karen. Hi, everyone. As Karen said, my name is Denise Bonetta, and I'm the Director of Graduate Student Life and Development here at TC. I first want to talk to our new students who are joining us either this summer or this fall. Welcome and congratulations. We're so excited to have you a part of our community. My team oversees orientation, so I'm just going to go over a few notes about what to expect with our orientation program. On Monday, August 2nd, we're going to launch our first ever Canvas course for new students. It's going to be titled TC Foundations, and it'll be asynchronous, so it's information for you to review on your own time to make sure that you fully understand the TC experience and the resources that are here for you. We really encourage all new students to take that course. There'll be some quizzes along the way, but don't worry, there's no grading, and you actually get entered in to win free giveaways once you finish the quizzes. So again, that launches on the 2nd, and you'll receive an email about how to access the course. We'll also be offering a digital welcome week. So that's the week of August 30th, the last week of August, and the week before the first day of classes. That week will feature a number of programs. So we have our program NSO 360, which you'll hear from the president and provost, and we have an exciting program lined up for you. We have a variety of panels that will feature different offices based on different topics that you just need to understand as a student. And then following the panels, there will be an opportunity for digital drop-in hours. So the panelists will have hours the following day for you to drop in and ask any specific questions that you might have personal to you, or just follow-up questions that weren't covered in the panel. As a note, most of our programs outside of the drop-in hours will be recorded. So should you not be able to join us for any of our programs, we will have that recording up on the orientation portal. All of this will live on our portal. And so that portal will also open early August. You'll get information about that. We had some students who sent us emails saying, how do I get in the portal? So right now you don't have access, but you will get an email once you have access, and then you'll be able to see the full schedule of orientation. There is no formal reorientation for our students who are joining us again, who started digitally, and that's just because you received the orientation that we're hoping to provide digitally. You should know your resources by now, your point of contacts in your department, but what we do want to offer you all is a celebration about the return to campus or your first steps on campus. So we're working closely with College Events, who's running this call today, shout out to them. And so they're decorating the campus and going to make it as celebratory as possible to really hone in on the excitement for us to be on campus. I know for me specifically, I started during the pandemic, so I'm really excited to be at TC on a regular basis. We'll also have some events like New York City walking tours or campus tours that will really help both our new students this year and then our students who joined us during the pandemic to familiarize yourself with the area and with our campus. So stay tuned for more information. We won't be doing any in-person events for new students and those returning who are new to campus until September 15th, as there was a college events policy that was released that said that all in-person events for new students will start on September 15th, and all in-person events for our whole community will start on October 1st. This was put in place just so we can really prioritize making sure that your academic spaces are all set up, that the faculty have what they need, and that we have that gradual return to campus. With that, we do want to note that student life and engagement will continue to embrace a hybrid model. What we mean by that is that we're going to offer digital programs as well as in-person programs. We want to do this for two reasons. One is that we know students will be studying with us remotely this year, but then also we realized that we actually had an uptick in engagement from a lot of our students who might live far and have a long commute to campus or have different obligations, whether it's a job or caretaking, where you might not be able to make it to campus for events or meetings. So with that, we still want to offer that opportunity for those students who, might not be able to make the trek to TC always, so that you still have opportunities to engage online. But then we also do want to provide those in-person experiences so you get to know people in person and you get to build that community on our campus. With that, I will turn it to student org events. So for our student org leaders who are watching this, hello. We can't wait to welcome you back to campus as well. We want to give a shout out for everything that you did last year. We were really proud of how you continued the engagement for our student community. This year, some of you have been asking, so you will begin to be able to do in-person programs starting on October 1st. We are planning an involvement fair, so we'll reach out about your involvement with that. And so that we're hoping for that to be an in-person opportunity before October, but your programs can start being in person in October. We'll be covering that in student org leader training, which will launch in August, and more information is to come from Alana. But if you have any questions before then, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to continue to help you program. But as we're embracing a hybrid model, we really want our student orgs to do the same. So think creatively with your leadership teams and determine how you're going to best connect with our whole community, both online and in person. Now I'm going to switch gears to academic life. So we want to tell all students to be sure to check the schedule of your classes on your portal, the MyTC portal. It should identify for you if it's taking place in a specific classroom or if it's taking place virtually. Those locations are still subject to change, but we hope to do that very minimally, only if there's a high need to do that. So be familiar with your schedule, as you might have a mix of both virtual and in-person classes. With that, we have had questions about, if I have an in-person class, followed by a virtual class, where do I go? The college is designating specific spaces for students in those situations. And then we also received a question on the last time we did this town hall of, are just general public spaces open? And the answer is yes. We're hoping to keep as many spaces, specifically community spaces, open for students to use and access. And that includes the libraries. So we get a lot of questions about the libraries as well. Just as a note, both the Gottsman libraries and the CU libraries, the Columbia University libraries, have been open throughout the past year. We want to give a lot of gratitude to the librarians who worked throughout the pandemic to make sure students had access to those spaces and those resources. You can continue to use the library during the summer. They're still open. We just ask that all of our students are diligent when going to the libraries and following all protocols. Should you not have your mask on or violate any other policy, the librarians can ask you to leave the space. So really just respect their time and their space and make sure that you follow all those processes. The library will open up for more fuller services. They also have a room reservation request. So should you need that, they fully have that outlined on their website. I saw there was a question in the chat earlier about, can you eat in libraries? And the answer is yes, just be respectful of the space. And so with that, I am done, but you're happy to ask, put in any more questions that I can answer later. But I'm going to turn it over to Dwayne White, the Executive Director of Campus Services.
Hi, good afternoon. I just want to give you some quick updates on card services, dining services, and residential services. We ask that everyone upload their photos in advance so that we can pre-print your cards to expedite distribution. You can upload your photo via the Card Services website at www.tc.edu/cardservices. If you did not pick up your ID from last year, your cards are still available for pickup, or we can mail them to you. Anyone wishing to have their ID card mailed to them should visit the Card Services homepage for those details. For dining services, I'm really excited to announce this fall that we will have a new dining vendor, which will be offering many new and exciting options that will include some grab-and-go options in both Grace Dodge Dining Hall and the Everett Cafe. Our vendor is currently working on all of the marketing materials of everything that they will be offering, and we will get those details out to you soon. For residential services, we do still have some spaces available that we're currently offering. If you're on the waiting list, please continue to check your email for updates. Our move-in dates are July 30th, and August 13th, and those are for early arrivals or early move-ins. August 30th through September 3rd is our standard move-in week. We do require appointments for all move-ins, and those are scheduled through our housing portal. For the coming year, as Karen mentioned earlier, everyone is required to submit proof of COVID vaccine or be approved for an exemption before August 1st if you live in housing. This includes anyone age 12 and older if they're in family housing. International students who cannot be vaccinated before arriving in the United States are encouraged to request an early move-in so they can complete the required vaccinations at Columbia or a local pharmacy. If you need to arrive early, please email housing@tc.columbia.edu. Anyone who's exempt from the vaccine will be required to do testing, COVID testing every week. Testing may be also required for others. Face coverings will always be required in any of our community spaces. Our community lounges, study rooms, and courtyards will be open with set capacities. We do have fitness rooms in a number of the residence halls, and we hope to have those open by the end of the fall semester. We're still pending an opening date for those. Enhanced cleaning will continue throughout our buildings. A number of people have asked about our guest policy. We hope to be sharing updates on our guest policies and procedures very soon. We will continue our residential programming. Our community development team will continue to do events both in person as well as online. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at white@tc.edu, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Now here's Patricia Gibson to discuss International Student Services.
Thank you, Dwayne. Hello, everyone. My name is Patricia Gibson, and I am the Senior Associate Director at the Office of International Students and Scholars, or the OISS. Staff at the OISS is here to provide immigration regulatory advising, issuance of your Form I-20 or DS 2019, and to support the successful completion of your studies while at Teachers College. We understand that this past year posed many challenges to international students who were impacted by travel restrictions due to COVID-19. The spread of COVID-19 has severely impacted routine visa processing services at U.S. consulates and embassies. But we have good news. U.S. embassies and consulates around the world are resuming phased reopenings, keeping the safety of staff and the applicant as their priority. While backlogs and delays have been reported, student non-immigrant applications are being prioritized. We recommend contacting the U.S. consulate or embassy directly regarding specific instructions and requirements regarding your visa interview. I would like to briefly remind students on the process of obtaining your F1 or J1 documentation. If you have been admitted for the fall 2021 term, please submit the initial I-20/DS 2019 request via TC Compass. Once you obtain your Form I-20 or DS 2019 from the OISS, you should proceed to schedule your F1 or J1 visa appointment with the U.S. consulate or embassy. More information regarding this process can be found under the New Students section of the OISS website. If you have yet to submit this request, please send us your inquiry to tcintl@tc.columbia.edu so we can discuss and guide you through this process of obtaining documentation in time to start classes. For those of you who have secured all of your F1 or J1 documents, we encourage you to plan ahead when making your travel arrangements. For instance, airline companies have COVID testing documentation requirements prior to boarding the aircraft. Check with the individual airlines for further information. Additionally, CDC has implemented negative COVID testing requirements for passengers arriving to the U.S. As of January 26, 2021, CDC requires all passengers entering the U.S. to get tested no more than 3 days before their flight departs and to present the negative results or documentation of having recovered from COVID-19 to the airline before boarding the flight. For more information regarding this requirement, please refer to the CDC website. We would also like to remind international students regarding the TC vaccination requirements, which have been covered previously during this webinar. Please note that you must be fully vaccinated with a vaccine authorized by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration or by the World Health Organization by the start of the fall semester. We encourage all to get vaccinated as soon as they are able to, but we recognize the challenges in some international destinations and the lack of vaccine availability. If you have questions or concerns regarding your vaccination status or return to campus, please contact COVID Student Care at tc.columbia.edu. Our team at the Office of Student Health and Wellness can assist you and help you connect with CU Health if you are completing the vaccination process after arrival to the U.S. and before the start of classes. Lastly, as Denise previously mentioned, the OISS will be participating in the digital orientation. We look forward to meeting you during the week of August 30 to share information regarding F1 and J1 visa status, as well as employment eligibility requirements. Now I would like to pass the baton back to Dr. Tom Rock.
Thank you so much, Patricia, and thank you to all of my colleagues and to Cam for so much information. I know that we tried to cover a lot of info, and I'm sure that you have questions as well. Before we turn over to the questions, I just really wanted to just mention some other of our student affairs leadership team members who are not participating today in this town hall session, but they are staff members that I really hope that you will get to know very well when you come to campus. So Ashley Smallwood is our director of TC Next. TC Next is our rebranded, reimagined, everything career education office. TC Next stands for Navigating and Exploring for Tomorrow, also located on the first floor with the rest of our student affairs offices. So we really hope that when you come to campus, you'll be working with TC Next as soon as you can. It's never too late to really start thinking about what your next step will be. I also wanted to just mention Jonathan Johnson. Jonathan is our assistant director in the Office of Student Health and Wellness and heads up our student support and counseling team within the Office of Student Health and Wellness. So really hope that you get to know Jonathan. And finally, Karen Kelly is a colleague who works closely with all of us in student affairs, and Karen is our manager of administrative services for the Division of Student Affairs. So you would certainly get to know Karen as well. So some other colleagues who are, again, just didn't have a speaking role today, but have a significant role in your student life at the college. Okay, so without further ado then, I would like to turn it back over to Denise to help us facilitate the questions that have come in. Denise.
Great, thanks, Tom. So everything is going to appear back on the screen. So you all have been adding some questions to the YouTube chat. They'll appear on the screen, and then I'll just direct it to the best person that can answer the question. So we'll wait for the first one to come in. All right, so we have a question. Is Covishield, the brand name of Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine, allowed as a vaccination in TC? Karen, can you answer that one?
The answer to that is yes.
Great.
That one is acceptable. There you go.
All right. Are there any quarantine rules for international students for entering the United States and attending on-campus events and classes? So Dwayne or Patricia, either of you want to take that one?
Patricia?
In terms of students arriving into the United States directly from a location abroad, and if you're, for instance, arriving into New York State, we would recommend that you check the New York State requirements and recommendations of quarantine. Of course, students are recommended to always test within 3 days of arrival to New York State or the United States, just for precaution measures. But in terms of attending events at TC or accessing campus, we have been talking about this previously. And of course, depending on your affiliation at the campus, you might have to follow different procedures. For example, if you're on campus, as Dwayne mentioned earlier, there are additional precautions you might want to be mindful of.
Great. All right. I'm fully vaccinated with the Covaxin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not currently recognized by WHO at the moment. What steps can I take to continue to attend classes while I get myself vaccinated by a WHO vaccine in the United States? Karen, do you have the answer?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So in your particular case, as I previously mentioned, what will have to happen is that I'm not sure about the date that you received your vaccine, but you will have to wait at least 28 days minimally from the date that you received the last dosage of Covaxin. But in the interim, while you're waiting for the 28 days and while you're waiting to be fully vaccinated, you can either go to Columbia Health or you can find another location to be fully vaccinated, as previously mentioned. You will have access to your residential hall if you're a resident, if you will be a residential student, but at that time you will have to attend your courses remotely until fully vaccinated. In addition, you will still have to also submit negative PCR COVID tests.
Great. Is it okay if the 2 doses of the vaccines I injected are produced by different manufacturers who are both recognized by WHO? If it's not, could you please tell me what to do? Karen.
I'll take that one too. So of course, it's not recommended that that happens, but we also realize that sometimes, different types of vaccines or the same vaccine isn't available to everyone. So in this case, that is acceptable here at TC. There's nothing else that you would have to do at this point.
Great. If you're fully vaccinated, is a PCR test still required for summer access? So I can take that one. Yes, it is. You need to take it once. So it has to be after May. What's that date again?
May 1st.
May 1st. So just make sure you have a PCR test after May 1st. You submit it through the process, and then you're all set to return for the summer. All right. Is TC going to monitor the number of cases on campus, such as regular testing of students, et cetera? Tom?
Yes, actually. So that is something that we have to do. We have to report into the city and we have to report into the state. So we do have an Office of Environmental Safety who is very much involved. So if there is a student who tests positive or anybody from the community who tests positive, that office would have to do some contact tracing and have to do some safety protocols and procedures.
Great. All right, I'm trying to upload my proof of vaccination, but I can't find the vaccination brand which I have accepted in China. I would like to know how I can deal with that. Any advice from this group?
I'll take that one as well. So if it is a case that you can't find the brand that's accepted, that means we don't have it there because it's not accepted by FDA or the World Health Organization. So in that case, you would be one of those students who would have to wait until you come to the US to obtain vaccination here.
Great, that's helpful. Will there be a pause of activities on campus during the semester if the number of positive test results reach a certain number during a period of time, like 2 weeks? Tom?
I would say, yeah, we would obviously have to monitor that situation very carefully and make, college-wide decisions, but we would not be doing that independently. That would be with local and state authorities, as well as with Columbia University health authorities and public health experts as well. Hopefully that does not happen, but we would obviously monitor and communicate as quickly and as clearly as we could.
I decided to study remotely in China. Do I still need to send the COVID-19 vaccine proof before the 16th date? I still need 1 shot to finish it. I wish to take later if I do not need to submit the proof. Karen?
I'll take that one as well, yes. So the vaccination is mainly for those who need to access campus. If it is a case that you're studying remotely, you will not need to submit anything. But once it is a case that you plan to come here, of course, you will need to submit your vaccination proof. But we also encourage you that even though you may not need it to come right now, please get vaccinated as soon as possible.
And apologies that they're late. Do you need both vaccines by July 31st or just one?
You need to be fully vaccinated by August 1st.
And fully vaccinated is depending on the vaccine
That depends. It can be 1 dose, 2 doses. So yes, 2 doses.
Right. Another question, do all fully vaccinated students need to take the RT-PCR test at least 3 days prior to traveling to the United States as well? Tom?
I think that the RT, that's the rapid test?
That's the PCR test.
Oh, I'm sorry, the PCR diagnostic. So to access campus right now for the summer, as we mentioned, a PCR diagnostic test is required dated after May 1st. That's the gateway. That's the only test that students will need to access campus for the summer. We've not yet made the decision yet for the fall, whether or not testing will still be required.
Is it fine if I can submit the vaccination proof after the 31st of August if I want to join in-person classes? Tom, do you want to take that one too?
Sure. Let's see. Can I just see that question one more time? I can submit. Okay, so our semester starts on September 8th. So it really depends on the date that you wish to access campus. So, we put out the mandate. We said August 1st was the deadline. We realized that some students, especially international students, are completing the vaccination process throughout the month of August. So, as long as it's you are fully vaccinated, at least you need that full 14 days of the full vaccination to take effect prior to accessing campus. So in this case, I would say just stay in close contact with us. Students in that situation, international students, there should really be no domestic students in that situation. International students in that situation, stay in touch with us. You will not be permitted on campus, except for in the residence hall if you're living on campus, but you won't be permitted any other place on campus. So that's why you need to stay in touch with us, because you might need to take the first couple of your classes remotely before you're fully vaccinated.
Thanks, Tom. I got the COVID Shield vaccine approved by the WHO. However, my proof was denied 2 times. What can I do in this situation? Karen?
In that case, you can reach out to us at covidstudentcaretc.columbia.edu. It could also be the case that there may be other reasons as to why your submission was denied. So also just make sure you pay attention to the denial reason, because it's usually listed in the email itself.
If you're not fully vaccinated by August 1st, will you not be able to enroll? Tom?
You just won't be able to access campus, right? So that's why, by the middle of October, your ID will not work on essentially on accessing campus, either the TC campus or the Columbia main campus. So that's why the college was mandating August 1st to give everybody enough time. Again, if you're an international student, stay in touch with us, reach out to us. We can certainly work with you on that. It really is just about accessing campus. But registering for classes or enrolling in classes, you could still register for classes. It just might mean that your first couple of weeks, you will have to be a remote student.
Great. How about the MMR vaccine? We need to send the proof before September 1st, no matter what, to go to campus, right? If we take the MMR vaccine before, what should we do? Karen?
Right, so it is a requirement because we follow New York State Public Health Laws 2165 and 2167 that all students are vaccinated with MMR vaccinations before coming to campus. So regardless of whether or not you're studying remotely, that is still a requirement. It must be done before September 8th.
If my proof of vaccination lists my vaccine as the I don't know how to pronounce that, mRNA vaccine, will that work as proof of the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine?
Yes.
Great. I love those answers. Will gym facilities be available outside of residential halls? So I can take that one. So we do have Dodge Fitness Center. So that is a part of Columbia University that our students have access to. So they have remained open throughout the summer, and they will be open in the fall. And we just recommend that you check out their website before attending, just so you are fully familiar with their services, what they're offering, and what protocols they have in place before your visit. Where's the card services page located on the website? Dwayne?
If you go to www.tc.columbia.edu/card services, that's the URL. And there's, if you're looking to upload the photo, there'll be a button at the bottom of the page for photo submission.
When I uploaded my photo for the ID, the website turned it sideways. Oh no, it was approved, but they're concerned that the ID will be sideways. Dwayne, what do you recommend?
We find that happens when the photo size is too large, and my staff actually edit the photo and turn it around before we print it. If by some chance that doesn't happen, definitely let us know and we will reprint your card for you. But that should be corrected before you pick up your card.
Great. A question for me is the Canvas course accessible to persons outside who are not new students but who are coming on campus for the first time? Right now, we're just delivering it to new students, as it's less about the physical location of campus and more about the services provided. So that was information you were provided during your own orientation. But if you want to get added to the course, don't hesitate to reach out. You can email gsld@tc.edu and we can add you to the course. Hello, if you've never been to campus and will be commuting, will you be allowed in the building without an ID card? They never picked theirs up because of COVID. Dwayne?
Well, if you submitted your photo before, we still have your card and it's available in our office for pickup. You do need to complete the daily health screening, and you can come to our office and pick up the card, or you can go on our website and get the information for having the card mailed to you. But you would be able to access campus without the ID. You just have to do the daily health screening first.
And then if there's a guard, would they have to say anything to the guard?
They just let them know that they're coming to pick up their ID.
Great. Are folks allowed to have guests in the dorm or residence hall, Dwayne?
At the moment, our guest policy is suspended. We will be letting everyone know when we look to lift that policy or restriction, but we look to do that before the fall.
After we get our second dose, can we submit it as soon as possible, or should we submit it after the 14 days being fully vaccinated? Karen?
You should submit it as soon as possible.
Perfect. Waiting to see if we have any more. Do we still need to take a physical examination and send proof if they study remotely in China? Karen?
So a physical examination is not required. All we do require are proof of vaccination. So measles, mumps, rubella, and even for meningitis, we don't even need proof that you've been vaccinated or not, just the response form itself, as well as the COVID-19 vaccination proof.
And would they need all those vaccination proofs even if they're remote?
For MMR, that is correct. You need it by September 8th. For COVID-19, you need it by August 1st.
Great. All right, so I see the sign that's all the questions that we have or can answer today. I love that we're just at 5 minutes from our 1 p.m. time. So I want to thank everybody who helped answer questions. I also really want to thank all the students who watched, all the questions that you asked. We really, really appreciate it. Stay tuned for more communications coming out. And I think with that, that's all we have for today. So have a great day, everybody, and we're excited to see you back on campus.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.